Hey everybody, David, the Philippine American couple here. I got a story I want to share with you about COVID and the flu vaccine. Now, I am not a medical expert. This is not medical advice. This little story is not to influence you in any way, shape, or form. I have always told all of you guys when you do anything, you do it on your own and you do your own research and figure out what's best for you. But this is my story. So, we travel a lot. I've been tested numerous times this year for COVID and have always tested negative. So that's great. I am a person who took the vaccine, so I'm happy about that. Now, so here's what happened. On a Friday, this is a while back, I had my scheduled flu shot appointment at the doctor's office. So went in and did that, got the flu shot, no big deal. Come around maybe Sunday, I think it was Sunday afternoon, I started kind of feeling a little yucky, kind of like you had the flu. No big deal. Sunday, Monday, all right. And then, of course, what happened is, if you guys don't know, I have some lung issues. So what happened was the weather changed. It became rainy and cold where we were up in Arkansas. And I got my first winter or fall lung infection, which is normal for me. So during the week, we took care of it. We stayed home, took some medicine, stayed warm, drank the hot tea, all that good stuff. Well, by Friday, it really wasn't getting any better, so I knew I needed to get a round of steroids, which is what I typically do for me. So I decided, we went to the ER, because I didn't want to wait the weekend to try to get an appointment with my doctor, whatever that would have been, just to get a round of steroids. I knew if I went to the ER, I could get some steroids. So went to the ER. They immediately, swab you to see if you're positive or negative for COVID. And then they did blood work and they did an x-ray. And of course, they were busy, so I was there 4 or 5 hours just sitting in a cold room freezing to death, which is probably not the best thing for people that are sick, but hey, whatever. So about 4 or 5 in the morning, the doc comes in and says, okay, we're ready to release you. Here's your steroids. Your x-ray, is a mess, but your lungs are a mess, so it looks, you don't have pneumonia or anything like that. So your blood work is pretty much normal for you. So we're going to, prescribe and give you the big round booster dose of steroids. I'm like, great, that's what I need. And then all of a sudden, on his computer, he gets an alert. I tested positive for COVID. And even the doctor was like, wait a minute, I don't get this. He had to go back and relook at it. He's like, your x-ray shows no COVID. Your blood work shows no COVID of any kind. You don't have any symptoms of COVID. So how are you testing positive? And I'm like, how the hell do I know I'm testing positive? You're the one who took the test. So, or Meadows took the test. So, like, okay, well, what do we do now? I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to lock me up and put me in a cage in the hospital, and for the next 10 days, I won't be able to see the daylight, remnants of my damn coma. So, but I told him, I said, okay, now what? He's like, well, there's some treatment out there now that for people who test positive, who has health issues like mine, high risk category, that they can give you this. Here, let me see if I can pronounce it right or tell you a little bit, because I pulled up the description of it. Monoclonal antibodies are laboratory-made proteins that mimic the immune system's ability to fight off harmful pathogens such as viruses. So it's basically an IV in a little bag, some saline solution, this super booster product of antibodies. It takes about 30 minutes to administer, I found. They watch you for another hour afterwards, okay? So the problem was, so I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I don't mind. And she's like, okay, you got to call this place in Fayetteville, Arkansas. They do it. So I called them and they're like, no, you got to have a doctor's order. I'm like, so the emergency room didn't send that? No, they don't do that. You got to get a hold of your doctor and have your doctor send down the doctor's order. Okay, so that's Monday. Finally get hold of my doctor and they say, okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. But we're going to send it to a different place. We're sending because you can get in easier in this other place in Bentonville. I'm like, great. I'll go wherever you want me to go. I could care. So no word. Tuesday. I call and calling everybody. We're calling everybody, bugging everybody. Look, we've been told that you only have a window of about 10 days from when you think your first symptoms are that you can get this. So after about day 8, I was actually finally able to get in. Now here's the interesting thing about this part, guys. It wasn't hard for me to get in because they were booked up. It was hard for me to get in partly because the doctors can't coordinate anything. It's hard for them to get these orders down. But they don't have these places that are administering this, didn't have any staff that could administer it. So when I finally got there, I talked to the gentleman a lot, nice guy, and he's like, we don't have enough workers that can come in and administer this. We just don't. He's like, I'm part-time. I come in the evenings when mine was, and I do them. And I do as many as I can. He said, it's free. They didn't charge me anything. The problem is they don't have enough healthcare workers that they could pull away from things to give these, which is supposed to be such of a great booster if you test positive to COVID. I'm like, well, why in the world, if this is such a great product, would you not give it to everybody, especially saying that it's free? He's like, well, that's a good question. I don't know. And so I went on, and nice guy, like I said, talked to him, got that. And I asked him a lot of questions, like, okay, so how long is it going to take before I test negative again? He said, I tested positive at the hospital on Friday. How many days will it be? He's like, oh, we don't know. It could be 10 days to 20 days, just depending on. There is no answer. Yeah, I could test positive again 500 times. I could test negative 500 times. There's no definitive answer to any of this mess, which is part of it. So, got that part done. No big deal. But here's one of the other interesting things. One of the big things I didn't like was hospital on Friday. Saturday morning, I get a call from the Arkansas Department of Health because the hospital has to report your case to them. I get that. Well, you feel like that now you're wearing a scarlet letter C for COVID because they try to be so intrusive into your life and absolutely try to tell you what you can and cannot do now that you tested positive. Now, look, we try to think about other people. So I didn't have a problem self-quarantining. I was already doing that because I was a little sickly with my chest colds. I wasn't going anywhere anyway. But how you had to quarantine, how you had to do this, how you couldn't do this. I'm a big fan of the vaccine. I've had the vaccine. I think because I had the vaccine, after I got my flu shot and my immune system went down, I barely got COVID, just barely. I do believe that if I never had my vaccine, when I got that flu shot, I would have got COVID seriously. I believe that. But the health department almost treats you like you're subhuman now. It's like you are going to do what we say, how we say it, when we say it, which I think is funny because, most of us won't tolerate that. So I did my quarantine days, right? And haven't had any symptoms, period, from the beginning to now. So my real question is, because I don't have an answer, guys. I don't really have a lot of opinion. My thought to you guys is, what do you guys think? Do you think getting the flu shot was why I tested positive for COVID. Barely tested positive. Do you think the vaccine helped? Do you think I'm wrong about that? What would you do? How would you feel about this? Because I have mixed feelings about it. A lot of it irritates the crap out of me, to be honest. I don't like the fact that the government thought they could stick their nose into my life on Saturday. Boy, that really chapped me. I don't like that at all. But I understand that we're in a global pandemic and sacrifices have to be made. So if I got to stay home for 10 days in the good of the people, I'm okay with that. I don't care anyway. But what do you guys think? That's my question. But that's my story. Talk to you guys next time. Take care.